paper form anywhere on the planet. This stuff's done with. Now, I said this before. I'm going to say it again. It's very simple. ET knows the time frame and time limits, and that's why they're jumping in now. They're taking out the bad people because we ain't doing our job of doing it for them. And this is why I'm putting this out on this radio show today, so that hopefully tomorrow morning, a whole bunch of mailboxes in the military will have an open letter to the military. And maybe a report of this broadcast stating that ET is doing their job for them and they would appreciate a hand. I don't know what the reason for the dragging of feet has been, but I can tell you that irrespective of all this, there are several people involved in this now, not just me and select few. There's a great number of people right now who've gotten frustrated to the point where they're willing to go out and start shooting people. And I personally can't blame them. I've been frustrated beyond that point a long time ago, but I also grit my teeth and refuse to try to fire my gun in anger at anybody that may not deserve it. The reason for the mass arrest idea, the reason for snatching these people up is twofold. Number one, you get them, and they got a possibility of living through this. Number two, you don't screw up yourself in terms of pulling that trigger when you shouldn't have. And I'm telling you right now, some of these people that are involved in the government, they're just like you and me. They don't really get it. They know they shouldn't be working for the IRS or somebody, but they do it because they got a family to feed and stuff to do. And I can't blame somebody for wanting to do that. If they're not involved, directly involved in the deaths, etc., the foreclosures, etc., things of this nature that are nasty, then I can't see that they're all that guilty one way or the other. Yeah, they screwed up. They're in the wrong spot. Yes, they need to make a change. Well, some of the things that are planned is that the central banking system is going. Now, I got word 2 weeks ago, and this is a nice little financial for you. I got word 2 weeks ago that there was a serious problem. And I don't know if you've noticed, but European Union is having some extraordinary growing pains. They're trying to catch up with something that's so huge that they'll never catch up with it. It's called their debt. Same sort of thing's true here. Difference between here and there is that, in this case, 99% of that debt, I mean almost absolutely all of it, belongs to the corporation who thinks it's in charge anyway. Well, okay, if you're in charge anyway, this time they get to buy lunch. And not just stuck with the bill, but if they can't afford to pay for lunch, then they get KP duty. They get to clean the latrine, and they get to do so in a FEMA camp. Well, two things. That keeps you from doing something stupid to them in terms of yourself. And I mean, yeah, you get bloodthirsty mad, but actually when you get right down to it, when you get to shed somebody's blood with your bare hands, it's different. Up close and personal is different. Pulling that trigger is different. Up to that point, you're considered innocent. You got a karma that maybe has a little tarnish here and there, if that. Those are biggies. This punches a hole in your karma, and you got to repair it. Now, these people will teach you how, but it shouldn't have to be that way. You shouldn't have to do that. And I am in full agreement with the idea of a peaceful absconding with these people. Now, I took a vote. Everybody seemed to go ballistic. Ooh, the vote. Well, guess what? If you read that, and I don't know if it's still up on some of the websites, but if you read that, there's no provision, none whatsoever, for the bad guys. It's all us. That's called a one-sided negotiation. That's called making them a deal they can't refuse. They're going down anyway, and I'll tell you why. The tip of the iceberg, so to speak, or top of the pyramid, or however you want to look at this, is a thing called the Bank of International Settlements. That is the crown of the Illuminati, bankers, thieves, whatever you want to call them, cabal. it has a lien placed against it, along with a cease and desist order. They may make no more transactions of any kind for a period of 90 days. That's plenty more time than it takes for the central banking system to go belly up. So the cabal, the bad guys, are going to lose it all anyway. It would be much easier. I mean, I don't want to chase nobody. And I've seen some things on TV. You made me chase you, and the cop commences to give the guy a few knuckle bumps on his head for doing that. You need something that can be able to be used both ways without us lowering ourselves to their friggin' level. These people are pond scum. They live in the bottom of the outhouse pit. These are things, as far as I'm concerned. I don't classify them as human, and I don't mean that nasty against any ETs or anything, but I don't think they rate anywhere near animals, and I think they should be treated as the same. Consequently, my suggestion is that when the military takes their action, and I hope they do it Monday, I really do, when they take their action, all they got to do is make a phone call. And each and every last person that can mobilize, I'm sure, and I feel very, very heavy about this, would just enjoy seeing these bad guys get their stainless steel bracelets and be put in the cattle car and whisked off to Mr. FEMA camp. Now, there's not too many things that would make my day right now, but that would be a big one. That would come close to dying and going to heaven. It'd be right next to it. I mean, it don't get much better than that. Actual satisfaction of at least being a part of. Now, they may need extra hands. I don't know. There may be situations where they have sent out disruptor patrols or interdiction patrols that are designed to take out our infrastructure, like cell phone towers and that sort of stuff. I've informed the militias. Anybody who can. Just as long as you're attached to a radio and somebody's listening on the other end, that's all it takes. And you can be the first responder by watching. You see a bunch of dudes packing explosives around some kind of a tower. Give their van a busted window with your high-powered rifle. Shoot one of their tires out. Give a couple rounds across the top of them so that they duck and run. If you'll notice, usually these things are out in the open well enough that they ain't got too much of a place to hide. And as soon as you're done shooting a round or two, whatever it is, you get on that radio and you call your buddy and you say, "Time, they're out here, they're going to blow up the electricity. Tell the sheriff, tell the people." And you get the telephone trees wound up. All of a sudden there's a crowd of 300-400 people out there, all armed. What do you mean you're going to mess up my dinner? I mean, whatever. You going to make my beer get warm? Guess what I got for you? It's called 12 gauge. There's a lot of different reasons you can look at this. It could be purely patriotic. This is my country. What are you doing on my ground? We own this. You got no right to be here. Seeing as how you're here illegally and you're intending upon doing damage to everybody just because you're here, maybe you just shouldn't be anymore. Okay? That's taking the law into your own hands. Don't advocate that. I advocate the silver handcuffs. Nice little stainless steel. They fit real. You can actually tighten them up to where they really are painful, by the way. Transport their butt down to the local jail. If they won't all fit in there, you take a piece of log chain and you loop it through one end, loop it through them all, and padlock it on the other end of to the wall. I'm sure there's some kind of a building or something. You can put them outside if it ain't nasty out. I mean, if it ain't going to freeze them, let them get wet. Let it rain on them a little bit. Might be good for them. Who knows? But basically, the gist of this is very simple. We need to take action. We have been given a directive, and it's a good directive. You'll like the video. You really will. That states that we have a time limit, and we're not taking care of business, and that forces ET to do it for us. They don't really want to do that. The reason they don't want to is because it ain't their business. It's ours. They're doing charity work for us, and we can walk, talk, and pull a trigger. No, it shouldn't be. We should be out there doing it. So I'm hoping Monday to start seeing some kind of action, at the very least contact from the military, and probably, and I'm hopeful, and I'm going to make this suggestion. After you watch the video, you think about it. You can go to my site and read that open letter of the military. It's on there. It's AmericanNationalMilitia.com. And if you don't see any response, maybe you ought to call the Pentagon. Maybe you ought to call up the local National Guard or anybody else you can get a hold of that'll listen. Don't matter who it is. There's tons of phone numbers out there. I gave the numbers out the other day. See if I still got those handy here in my notes. Very well may have. I have to put my eyes on before I can do this stuff. There we go, that's better. Now, I think it was like one or two sheets back all. Let's see here, where did it go? The Pentagon is 703-545-6700. The White House, 202-456-1111. If you can find an email address for them, by all means, tell them what you feel about what they're not doing or what they have done or anything else you want to complain about. But first of all, we need some action. Eric Holder needs to go to jail, removed from office because he's got felonies pending. I'm sure Judge Napolitano would make an excellent replacement for Eric Holder. I have no doubt in my mind at all if the man was willing to take the job. And I'm going to add a little something. They need to do it under his conditions, not somebody else's idea about what's going to be done, or I got to listen to ex-idiot whomever down the hall, but under Judge Napolitano's conditions. Okay? You're going to have to give him a whole bunch of federal marshals because there's a bunch of people need to go to jail. So basically that was what I had for today, and I'm hoping that wrinkled everybody's starts just a little bit. Do we want to open this for questions, or how do we want to do this? Kimberly?
Drake, can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can hear you, Lady Dragon.
Can you point out exactly on your website where your video is so people can see it clearly, please?
I don't know. It got put up while I was on the phone with 5 different people at the same time. It's on my website. You should be able to find it. Now, there should be a link above it that says spirituality. If I am not mistaken, it'll go to that page, and that page will have that video, or at least the link to it. It is a YouTube video.
Yes.
Everybody can get a copy and run it, just like free beer, make that thing go ballistic. ET is doing the military's job. When the military is fully capable, I think the military would probably like to step in and relieve them of that duty. And that's one of the other, there's another little piece of it. So, Kimberly. Everybody muted.
I'm trying to get her attention here, Drake. Just one moment.
Okay.
I'm new to the board, too. This is Denise. One moment.
I hate dead space. It's confusing to people.
Well, I can confirm that the view is there and working well. That much I can say.
Well, at least this is it seems like a decent way to broadcast.
Okay, I'm here. There's a mass confusion because there are like 500 people who have called last week's conference line number, and so I got word of that, and I was trying to deal with that and give them this number and this login information. So anyway, I'll get back to that. But the colonel was there, and he was going to be helpful. So I got this number to them. However, this number is only limited, and I was trying to give them the website address. So if it's okay for me to take a moment.